In this video, you are going to learn the structure of a complex sentence. If you want to improve your English writing skills, you can start right now by subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss a thing. Before we talk about the structure of a complex sentence, you need to know that a sentence can be called an independent clause or a dependent clause. The independent clause means that a sentence has a subject, a verb, and a complete idea. For example, a simple sentence is an independent clause, which means it can stand by itself. It gives meaning by itself. For example, Jack reads the newspaper. Jack is the subject, reads is the verb, and the whole sentence gives a complete idea, a complete meaning. It makes sense. So this is an independent clause because it has a subject, a verb, and a complete idea. What about the dependent clause? The dependent clause has a subject, a verb, but the meaning is not complete. For example, you say, if you come, the meaning is not complete in this sentence. It is a sentence, it has a subject, it has a verb, but the meaning is not complete. Now that you have understood the difference between the independent clause and the dependent clause, let's talk a little bit about the complex sentence. What is a complex sentence? A complex sentence has two parts. One part is a dependent clause, the other part is an independent clause. For example, before we travel, we will visit our grandma. Before we travel is the dependent clause, which means it has a subject, it has a verb, it looks like a sentence, a complete sentence, but the meaning is not complete. If you stop there and you say before we travel and you stop, the meaning is not complete yet. So we need an independent clause to finish the whole sentence. So we say, we will visit our grandma. This is an independent clause. Let's study more examples. After we finish reading, we will go out. When he comes, he will have dinner. Because he is sick, he will call off the meeting. All these examples are complex sentences. They have the one part which is dependent clauses, and if you can notice, before the dependent clauses there are words. These words in English are called subordinators. What do? They join the dependent clauses with the independent clauses. So you can use a subordinator, a dependent clause, and then an independent clause to make a complex sentence. But don't forget the comma. After the dependent clause, there is always a comma. So a complex sentence can have this structure: a subordinator plus a dependent clause, a comma, and an independent clause. For example, after we have dinner, we'll go out. But the question is, does a complex sentence always have the same structure? The answer is no. You can also start your sentence with an independent clause, subordinator in the middle of the sentence, and then dependent clause. For example, we'll go out after we have dinner. So as you can see, the subordinator is in the middle of the sentence and there is no comma. So if you are using this second type of structure, if you are using an independent clause, subordinator in the middle of the sentence, and then a dependent clause, you don't need a comma. A lot of students, they make mistakes when they write in this structure, they keep the comma. So it's easy. Now you can write a complex sentence, a compound sentence, a simple sentence. If you haven't watched the first two videos, you can go back and check the first two lessons of this series.